Hello guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about anime that carried the 2022 year. Yes, the anime, the seasonals, that absolutely uplifted, made it all worth it in the end, were a joy to watch. Should I even have a say in this? I've watched much less compared to last year. Last year, I think I had about 100 watched. I did watch still sizable amount this season. Feel I definitely enjoyed it more, but I watched around 50, so I definitely don't have as much coverage of all the anime that released compared to last year, but I still do want to talk about those highlights, give a little wrap up so I don't have to talk about them anymore, don't feel any need to talk about them anymore. We'll start off with honorable mentions. What is the honorable mention, I think, on everybody's list is the continuation. Of course, it's just, have you watched the first season? Okay, cool, you liked the second season, and it was probably a nice joy to go and watch when it was coming out. Everyone has them, and we don't share them. We don't share them, or we do share them. But it's all dependent on the person. But I will just quickly list the ones I have. I read them down. I'm going to cheat. Love is War, Season 3. Demon Girl Next Door, Season 2. Quintessential Quintuplets movie, releasing in theaters and as well releasing in May if you were there in Japan. Laid Back Camp, also around the same time and released on Crunchyroll. Love Live Superstar, Season 2. Love Live Niji, I got a lot of Love Live this year. Komi Can't Communicate, Part 2. I'm going to count it as a Season 2. It's the same difference. But there were many that, actually elevated the season. And I'm going to list two other shows that would absolutely be on this list, but I've already talked about them, so I'm just going to say go watch the video and where I talked about them. First one, Vampire in the Garden. You may remember me talking about that on the channel. It's a nice quick video. Came out at a weird time where I couldn't be on camera. It's still a good video. You guys go check it out. It's definitely a little bit underviewed, but worth the watch. And the second one is the most recent one I've uploaded, the Shine Post. Me talk about Shine Post. Of course, if you don't care me talk about idol shows, then don't watch it, but just know it would be on this list, but I took it out just so we're going to be talking about new stuff in this video. That being said, let me get into the actual entries. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is Princess Connect Season 2. And you're like, wait a second, you were getting all the Season 2s out before. Why is this in here? And that's because Season 1 wasn't something I loved, but I was like, it's alright. And this Season 2 impressed me. And I was like, oh, this is different. They changed something up. They made it better. If you weren't fully on track with the first season of Princess Connect, this is a very obscure show. Not a lot of people will probably relate, being like, yes, I definitely watched season 1 and I just thought it was like okay. But if you are in that weird boat where you're like, it was alright, I would suggest go watch that season 2. It actually picks up a significant bit. And the biggest selling point is, goddamn, the plot with Pikarin and Carol is fucking good as hell. They really just drop that on you, the whole conflict and shit. You're like, damn, this is actually fucking good. Because before, it's just like this kind of comedy, episodic in this world, it's just based off of gacha games that are just trying to show all the characters, make them all fun and enjoyable. You're like, oh yeah, I like that character. I'm going to spend 10 million to pull it in this game. That's the reality of it. Let's be honest. So I wasn't expecting anything different, but then you get the whole plot, which it was there at the beginning. You did know Carol was supposed to be the spy. They weren't like a part of the good team that we are, but you get more development. You know exactly who's leading this in season 2. You know who Carol's leader, and you get to see the full like wavering of sides of like, man, I actually really like these people. They're good people. Why do I have to fuck with them? Then there's the gaslighting, gatekeeping queen, like, nah, you gotta fuck with them. You gotta gaslight and gatekeep, girl boss. Me absolutely butchering the story, but That's why you should watch it yourself if you actually want to know what the fuck happens. But it's actually pretty deep. I get a couple of tears. I actually got a couple of tears watching Pikachu, like, man, I found this other family. It's a kind of found family story, which that actually, you know, kind of hit a couple of chords. They did mess up in a couple places. They really should have put their chips into this storyline, really developed it more, because you don't get like this huge hit when, you know, Pikachu actually finds her real like mother and father that she's not seen in forever, and it's kind of just thrown in. It's like, oh yeah, I get my family back. That's cool. Like, develop that more. That's big. There's a lot of good shit. And it was always impressively animated, so you get all this like gorgeous action and drama packaged in this beautifully animated story. It looks amazing. And I was highly impressed by the ending of that show. Is it perfect? No, but it was much better than the first season and pretty enjoyable. Next, Spy X Family. You won't hear me talking about the rest of the popular ones that came out, like Chainsaw Man. I don't give a shit about that. But Spy X Family, that was the one that, yes, I enjoyed like everybody else. Generally, I just don't like what most people like until this one. And I guess to give the couple of quick reasons why, because I don't think I can make a stellar commentary on Spy X Family compared to the bajillions of other people who have talked about this show. But it's a story about family in a medium that lacks a lot of stories about it. Anime is generally targeted at these high schoolers. So generally, the writing, the whole demographic of anime is always closer to that. And then you realize, oh yeah, most teens are freaking edgelords who are, you know, in the rebellious phase and don't like their parents. That's of course overassumption. I understand teens aren't just like that, but with the general thought of the consumer, most aren't daring to make stories about family because it's not ones that can easily hit what the main viewing audience for a lot of anime are. This is different. This is the story about family. And I think it shows that we are interested in a variety of stories. We don't want just the same exact thing, and having a little bit of difference will help a whole lot. And I think Spy X Family kind of accentuates that. And of course, there's the other great aspect. Genuine story from the manga was always a good idea. The mix of overall like, assassin and spy. Always an interesting thing. Anya, of course, being this huge comedy relief character. A lot of it's very smart. And it seems like the anime that a lot of people end up enjoying. Now, I definitely wanted to make a video while this one was coming out, but I'm kind of happy I didn't, and that is Akiba Maid War. I love the type of crazy shit, type of anime where it's just like, take a really wacky concept and go with it. Of course, the guy who likes the show where there's horse girls is like, man, I kind of like when they get a little wacky, get a little goofy. I know. Who would have been surprised and shocked by it? But yeah, I did end up liking Akiba Maid War. It ended up being very episodic, and just episodically, it's highly enjoyable. It's just very good stories overall. The character cast is generally fun. Nothing super like well developed from any of the direct cast of characters. There's no one like, oh man, I love that episode. Developing the manager. Like, they're a little bit shallow at the end of the day, but it's fine because the scenarios they're going through really carry the story at the end of the day. Them just playing baseball, it's fun, right? Them just playing poker and getting shipped off to fish in the Arctic, that's just fun, you know? And overall, the concept was very impressive, and I enjoyed it a whole lot. All the complaints I have are like very small things. Little contention in the end. I don't know how I feel about the ending, you know? It's weird. I kind of wish, you know, the story drivenness was either more pulled together or not cared about in the slightest. Those first couple of episodes that really just kind of showed the concept of the show were fucking amazing. That first episode, That, you know, the scene that was one that got shared around so much. It's such a good scene. How can I fucking hate on it? It is so goddamn good. I personally really loved episode 3, the fighting episode. Got one of the best laughs at me at the very end. It's a very good series. There was a couple of problems, and I think with a couple of small little changes, it would have been a masterpiece I would have to talk about on the channel in its own video and hype the shit out of it. But I'm happy that I didn't go off of like 3 or 4 episodes and just say this is going to be the next masterpiece, because at the end of the day it slightly disappointed me in just being all right. Well, more than all right, solid, but not anything to write home to everyone about or something. But you know what's the show that getting everyone to write home about right now this season? Bocchi the Rock. I was hyping this one up to be early. I'm early adopter, boys. If anyone remembers, I was hyping it up early. Okay, I'm not going to be that guy, but I was very surprised with how well it was. I just thought it's going to be another slice of life. I had pitched it as like, oh, from the synopsis, it kind of sounds like Comey Can't Communicate mixed with K-On! That sounds cool. And that's how I like sold it to other people. I will say it is much more than that. I think overall all the main character cast, they aren't the most thoroughly developed characters, but they're more developed than I thought they would be. I thought they would be on a similar level to the actual K-On! Characters, where it's like, you know, you get the genuine expression of their day and you easily can follow along with them, but there's nothing deep to their motivations at all. But Bocchi had a lot more than I was really expecting. And besides the very subversive, very just like taking it out of the style of comedy, I couldn't have expected they would adapt it in such a way. I don't think anyone could. And I was so surprised by how strong the comedy of the show was. I had more betted it to fall into the drama elements and really just be a okay-ish comedy. But this was so strong in the comedy, and I was not placing my bets there in the first place. It really sold on the comedy alone. And if you just want a funny show, you can watch Bocchi just for that. But there is also good drama there. I think related to at least Bocchi herself, her developing out of her anxiety is very well written. So again, the hype, very well worth it. I'm kind of happy that, you know, people are just enjoying a cute girls doing cute things thing. I always hype up these shows. I'm happy that I don't even have to like be like, ah, yeah, this is the niche show that I like, right? It's a show that everyone has fallen in love with, and I could just talk to somebody about it. And it's like, oh yeah, he just watched the popular show that I get to be normal again. What happened in 2022? I liked the show that everyone else liked. Ah, man, I'm not unique anymore. Oh no, please say subscribed. Oh man. But anyways, Bocchi was a solid show. And I have one more to talk about. That being my number 1, which kind of surprised me looking through the list, but there's actually not much of new stuff that really impressed me. And that was Aharon is Indecipherable. Do you remember that show from the spring season? Yeah, I really fucking liked that show. And it had a lot of things going against it, but I think it held on pretty strong. When it came to the rom-com scene, it was also competing with Shikamori. And I was trying to watch Shikamori as well. Shikamori I didn't care for. I dropped after 4 episodes. But Aharon was having the hardest competition. Spring was fucking loaded. Loaded with stuff. And the fact that Aharon stood out amongst like a bunch of continuations. Demon Girl Next Door was coming out on that spring season. Love is War was coming out on that spring season. Love Live Need You was coming out on that season. There was a lot competing for my attention, but Aharon still stood out, and I was excited to watch those new episodes more than even some of those continuation. And I don't know why, because it isn't this exception. I never put it on this high pedestal, this high bar, but I really do fucking like it. There's just very little to actually complain about with that show. It's one of those shows that if I tried the critique, I would just kind of be like, oh, I don't know what to say. It's all good things I have to say about that show, but I don't hold it as this absolute masterpiece. The comedy was absolutely excellent. I loved the chemistry of these characters. It's just a very chill cast of like, Aharon's doing some crazy random shit, and our main dude, he's just very chill, laid back. It's kind of another stoner show. There's those shows that I think it's just the laid back type of shit that'd be fucking amazing when you're high. Non Buri, one of those shows. Absolutely love Non Buri. Aharon, I think, fits in the same kind of category. And the chemistry, again, I love the chemistry of those characters. All the sides, you know, they're not deep, but they're all very fun. I love that, like, tall girl that's just, like, fucking hiding places everywhere. There's so many genuine, just nice-ass moments in the series. They're, like, just, this didn't need to be there, but I'm fucking cool that they just decided to put that in. Everything about the show is so nice. I have zero complaints. I would love to just rewatch it randomly. If anyone just comes up to me and is like, you want to watch this? You want to just spend 4 hours just rewatch this again? I'm like, all right, sit down, get the fucking edibles. I mean, okay, just get the shit. We'll go watch it. It's going to be chill last time. It has become like a staple of just like, this is just a very nice comic show. I can't explain it masterfully, but I loved it. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video of the shows that carried 2022. And this is for me. This is for me alone. This isn't this objective list, because fuck making those. Fuck making something that stands out to the general audience. But I'm very interested in my general audience. Please comment what your seasonal picks were. Give your reasonings as to why you liked them. You don't have to convince me. You're probably not. Unless we both agree. If we're both like Aharon's the best show, then hey, based. But I am interested to see what all of you guys liked. Was there a sleeper that not even was like hyped up by everybody else, but you're just like, yo, this was the shit. Nobody else to talk about it, but this right here was the shit, and you need to watch it. Because hey, I may end up watching it. If you give me some good ass reasons, I may watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you liked and enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.